Once upon a time, there was a poor woodcutter who lived at the edge of a great forest with his wife and his two children, Hansel and Gretel. The woodcutter had little to eat and often worried about how he would provide for his family. One year, when a great famine struck the land, he could no longer afford to feed his children. One night, as he lay in bed worrying, his wife whispered to him, "Tomorrow, we'll take the children deep into the forest and leave them there. We won't be able to feed them anymore, and they won't find their way back." The woodcutter, troubled by this plan, hesitated, but his wife insisted until he finally agreed. Hansel and Gretel, unable to sleep due to hunger, overheard their parents' conversation. Gretel cried bitterly, but Hansel comforted her. "Don't worry, Gretel. I'll think of something," he said. The next day, the woodcutter and his wife led Hansel and Gretel into the forest. As they walked, Hansel secretly dropped white pebbles he had collected during the night to mark the path back home. When they reached the deepest part of the forest, their parents told them to rest while they went to cut wood. But as the hours passed, the children realized they were alone. When night fell, the moonlight revealed the path of white pebbles, and Hansel and Gretel followed it back home. Their father was overjoyed to see them, but their stepmother was angry. The next day, the stepmother locked the door to prevent Hansel from gathering more pebbles. Again, they were led into the forest, and this time Hansel dropped breadcrumbs instead. However, the birds of the forest ate the crumbs, and the children were unable to find their way home. After wandering for 3 days, Hansel and Gretel came upon a strange house made entirely of bread, cake, and sugar. Starving, they began to eat the house. As they did, a wicked witch who lived in the house invited them inside. The witch was a cannibal who trapped children and ate them. She locked Hansel in a cage, intending to fatten him up before eating him, and forced Gretel to do housework. Each day, the witch would check Hansel's finger to see if he had gained enough weight. However, Hansel tricked her by holding out a bone instead of his finger, as the witch had poor eyesight. Frustrated by the lack of progress, the witch decided to eat Hansel regardless of his weight. One day, the witch ordered Gretel to prepare the oven. When it was hot, she planned to bake Hansel. But clever Gretel pretended she didn't know how to work the oven. The witch, impatient and angry, leaned into the oven to show her. In that moment, Gretel pushed her into the oven and slammed the door shut, leaving the witch to burn. Gretel freed Hansel, and they discovered the witch's treasure hidden inside the house. They filled their pockets with jewels and gold, then found their way out of the forest. When they finally reached home, they found that their stepmother had died, and their father welcomed them with tears of joy. With the treasure they had brought, they all lived happily ever after, never wanting for anything again.